And it's time to bring you some live visuals from Singapore, where Prime Minister Modi is present. As we all know, this is the last leg of Prime Minister Modi's three-nation visit to Southeast Asia as a part of his Act East policy. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's third day in Singapore. And it will be after today's visit that Prime Minister Modi will return to New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi's three-nation tour included the Southeast Asian nations of Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore. And the special highlight at Singapore, as we all know, was yesterday at the Shangri-La Dialogue, where Prime Minister Modi was the first Indian Prime Minister to deliver an address at a key strategic gathering at the Shangri-La Dialogue. As we all know, US Defense Secretary Jim Mattis is also a part of the dialogue that took place yesterday, and it will be today that in a while from now we will expect Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meet with US Defense Secretary Jim Mattis. What you can see is the unveiling of plaque marking the immersion site of Mahatma Gandhi's ashes in Clifford Paya. As we all know, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation, father of India, he was an extremely popular figure, not only across the globe, but especially in Singapore also. And this visit is extremely integral for India and Prime Minister Modi. The unveiling of the plaque, as you can see, is taking place. All right, a beautiful rendition of Vaishnava Janato, which was originally penned by the poet Narsin Mehta. And the bhajan, as we all know, was included in Mahatma Gandhi's daily prayer. And as we all know that this is the unveiling of the plaque marking the immersion site of Mahatma Gandhi's ashes. So a deeply symbolic rendition over there. Let me also go across to our political editor who's joining us live from Singapore. Kartike, this is indeed a beautiful sight as we see Prime Minister Modi marking, he's unveiling the plaque marking the immersion site. Tell us about the significance of this site, because we know that, the ashes of Mahatma Gandhi were sent to various parts of India and the world, including Singapore.
Singapore is a multicultural city. It's multi-ethnic, it's multi-religious. And I think all those values reflect today. And Prime Minister also has a special bond with Singapore in terms of its development history of development. It's Lee Kuan is the founding father. The first premier was Prime Minister, is still Prime Minister's role model. So Prime Minister has taken the time out. You can see in the frame. And it's also organized by Bharatiya Janata Party's overseas. So I can see Mr. Chathai Wale sitting behind the Prime Minister. So I would say that this is part and parcel of his small sojourn to the Little India in Singapore. And the Prime Minister will be visiting a temple, Guru Mosque and a church. It's all put together. Last time he came here, Prime Minister had a quiet lunch. So perhaps this is the place he likes to go. I was in Little India day before yesterday, and there was a beautiful temple out there. I felt that perhaps it could have been any temple from Madurai or any other part of South India. So you have to see it in the context of emphasis of culture and his diplomatic initiative. And I see that aspect of Prime Minister in every visit I have covered him, whether it was Jakarta, whether it's Myanmar, whether it's Sri Lanka. The emphasis on cultural relationship is something which is very primary and central to the Prime Minister. But today there's also a very important meeting, let me remind you.
Right.
He's going to meet the Defence Secretary,
right,
James Mattis, today.
Right, and what can we expect during this meeting, since we all have been hearing about this pull aside between Jim Mattis and Prime Minister Modi?
I think in pull aside, obviously China is the concern. That's the elephant in the room. There's no doubt about it. The Prime Minister has been very, very gracious in terms of, when he spoke about solidarity, multipolar world, and when he spoke about taking everyone along. But I think the US has been far more critical of the Chinese position, because you see that the China is co-hegemon, reordering the world order. But because India will have to assert its interest without antagonizing its neighbor. US does not live with China. They don't have a shared border. We have a long border with China, and that too unresolved. So India has to tread very carefully. That is why Prime Minister yesterday completely focused on the ASEAN countries. Look, 70% of our trade is happening with ASEAN nations. West Asia, which used to be the cultural, and this is a significant shift. Please understand that 1,000 years our subcontinent has been shaped by West Asia. Even our imprint of Islam in India is very Persian in nature. It did not come from Saudi Arabia. Like, for example, the word namaz is Persian. It's not Saudi Arabian. In India, no one says Allah Hafiz. They say Khuda Hafiz. So those interactions have completely stopped. Those trade routes are beyond us because of radicalization.
All right,
what has happened is that the East has opened up.
Right. Kartike, thank you so much for bringing us all those details on this live cast. We will continue to come back to you to track Prime Minister's visit to Singapore.